Our exports goes to all countries outside Nigeria.
Okay.
Most especially America, where we have a huge population of black people who are so much in love with our products. But you know, the system over there is well structured. You don't just take anything to shops there and start selling and giving people your stuff without control and certification. So our people have been doing fish farming and producing for export for quite some time, and we receive a lot of support from organizations like USAID, like EU, has funded a lot of our trainings. I mean, trying to bring us to standards, doing our things with the best management practices, so that it can be qualified to come into their market over there. So at a certain point, the U.S. Department of Agric, through the consulate in Lagos, Nigeria here, wrote letters to our supervisory agent, which is the Federal Department of Fisheries, the Ministry of Agriculture, Abuja, requesting for some documentations about our processed fishery products. They want information about the sources of these fish, how were they raised, what are the feed ingredients that were used, were hormones used in growing them, were the fishes from homestead productions or wildlife, all sort of things. It involved mostly countries exporting such products to America. So they do that periodically. They want to, you know, cross-check and review their operations. But unfortunately, they did not get any response from our supervisory agent, which is the Federal Department of Fisheries in Abuja. And they did that, writing letter requesting for this same information 6 times without any response. And eventually, you know, they work with IT over there. Certain points, they had to bring the hammer down and close the window against us. And that has been our predicament for a year now.
So it's been a year. What has there been any response from the Federal Department of Fisheries? Has your association approached the department to tell them that, look, this is what has happened. There's this, you need to urgently respond to these questions or this request for information so that the bank...
As the bank came, we need to respond by seeking more information from the USDA. And they give us the documents which the Food and Safety Agency of their own government placed the ban. And we have ourselves with these documents. We went to the Department of Fisheries in Abuja, I mean my executive team. And I think we had 3 visits to that office to discuss this issue.
Okay.
And all responses are that we are working on it. And the usual, we are working on it. And you know,
I find that quite odd and puzzling because, I mean, if the questions are, like you mentioned, how are these fishes grown, where, in what conditions are they grown, etc., I'm just wondering, because before 2018, before 2018, there were exports were being taken out of the country. So why is it suddenly a problem? And I'm thinking, what were the previous documentation that were presented to the U.S. government if they do this periodically? So perhaps in the past, at some point, they were the documents presented to them from Nigeria were satisfactory. But if they're doing periodic checks, then perhaps they just want an update on that information. So that's my question. Why would that be a problem now?
Exactly. There's problem because of our character and attitude to work, especially when you are not having a serious supervision over what you do. Unlike in the private sector, you have set targets, and somebody have to review and monitor what you do. But in our public sectors here, the civil servants are the kings. Okay,
so who else can you take this to? I mean, I'm just wondering, does it all end with the Department of Fisheries? Who else can your association go to?
After we've made 3 visits and had meetings with them, and there were no response, we took it to a higher level by writing a letter to the office of the VP. He was the acting president at that time, and we monitored it. We sent it through DHL, and it got delivered, but there was no acknowledgement. So we were waiting for possible positive effect of that letter. That was in April last year. We didn't really see any sign. We had to do a reminder in July last year. And I thought the file got to the Minister of Agric and eventually got to the Department of Fisheries and Aquaculture. And that was when we started getting the feelings that the file is with them, and they started, instead of addressing the issue, they started attacking the messenger. And me personally was declared a personal guarantor that the department should have nothing to do with me for exposing their weakness, not minding that a lot of investment has gone underground.
Okay, but did they say that, that being said, they would proceed to address the issue?
They are not doing anything. As at 2 weeks ago, I was at the USDA.
Okay.
Nothing is being done from our end. Some other countries that suffer the same fate have been, the ban had been lifted.
Okay, what we also heard was that Canada and can you confirm that Canada and Europe are also rejecting?
Yes, it has also come.
Why? For the same?
You know, I told you, EU, USAID, and all these international agencies supported our human capital development by training us, assisting us, empower us to take our production and processing to an acceptable level to them. It's not because of our no interest. It's because of their interest.
Canada and the EU, are they rejecting fish exports from
Yes.
Nigeria now? Why?
Well, if I've taken you to somewhere, I've spent my money on you to take you to a certain level, and you are followed me doing that
so
level.
this is for them. This is also for them in response to
the
their inability
US.
to supply.
You know, the US is a big player in any industry. And let me tell you, to be very sincere with you, most of our people are also culpable. Most of our people that take fishes over there contributed to this problem.
How so?
They send poor finished processed fish to such places. And when they continue to see that...
Well, we have quality control here. So where is the last stop, the final stop of quality control to ensure that right from the border before it takes off, it is already met
we have a lot of officers that are employed to do this thing. But do they do it? Do they come
What about your association? Is there a way that you can sense or do some quality checks or control over those projects?
We as an association, we are doing our best, and we have a lot of partners that are really giving us support. But I can confidently tell you that even those people that are in the association are lesser than 50% of people that are even involved.
So what has become of the fish farmers? And because I know that the reason why many of the farmers go into the catfish especially is for the export, mainly because of the export. What is happening?
We do some other species. We do tilapia. We can also culture a lot of other species.
Well, how much can you put a figure in terms of what we're losing as a country as a result of this ban?
It's huge. It's huge. And what we're also losing in non-monetary time is the interest of investors. So if the government agents doesn't come up to bring an end to this problem, there are other sources which takes fishery products to America. Kenyans are there, Zambians are there, Gambians are there, Ghanaians are there. The irony of it is now that the little benefit we're having is that our West African brothers, Ghanaians, come here, take our products package and take to Ghana to...
So is there a risk of Nigeria losing market share as a result of this ban?
Definitely. And it definitely affecting our balance of trade. And what about those imported infrastructures that were set up purposely to catch on this advantage of taking our products to these European countries, where we have a very huge population of black people?
Mr. Oloye, we're going to have to leave it there today. Thank you so much for helping us shed light on this. And honestly, I wish you all the best and hope